Hello, once again, my name is Alan, and this afternoon what we're going to do is we're going to cover off the document footers, the email and SMS templates, the customer and mechanic templates, and the automated reminder system in Workshop software. This is the third of our onboarding sessions, and let's dive right into it. So, in order to work on the document footers, we go into the settings on the left-hand side, we drop the menu down, and we go to the messages section. In the messages section, you have four particular footers. One is for the invoice, one is for your job card, the second to last is your statement, and then you have the quote footer. All right, so in the invoice footer text, right, this is the documentation or the footer that will appear at the bottom of every invoice that you issue, right? So it's probably pretty important that you get it as correct as possible. In here, you would simply put in your business name. Then you have your banking details. In Australia, we use a BSB account to specify which bank branch the account is being held at. And then you have the account number for the business account itself. As a bookkeeper, I always believe that it's very, very important that you put down this on your invoice so that your customers, when they pay you by EFT, if they pay you by EFT, right, will know that they need to put down either the invoice or the estimate number for which they're paying. Terms and conditions which apply to an invoice tend to be information relative to the warranties that are offered on the invoice itself. Another common term and condition is that all products remain the property of the workshop until paid for in full. Something to remember is that the terms and conditions do not really relate to the payment terms. The payment terms on any given invoice actually appear on the invoice itself, right? So you don't want to necessarily repeat that. For the job card footer, this is for use in workshops where they would like the customer to sign off on the job card before they actually start the work. And this gives you the ability to put in the customer's signature or the customer to sign off on it, date it, so on. And all you would need to do here is to put in your business name and any other terms and conditions which are relative to the job card, such as if additional parts are being used, right, so on and so forth, what the terms and conditions are for the supply of those. On your statement footer, this is the bottom of the statement, which goes out every month to your account customers. And really, we believe that all you really need to put in there is going to be, again, all of your banking details. So if you've put them into your invoice footer, you simply come across, you copy those there, and you put them onto the bottom of your statement. All right, simply as simple as that, really. For the quote footer text, right? Something to remember about Workshop software is that within the system, the labeling in Workshop software always calls estimates quotes. All right, so everywhere where you're looking inside the system to work with an estimate, right, it will say that it is a quote. But when you actually print out the document, it will state very clearly in the top right-hand corner that it is an estimate. So we believe that it's very important you put in the terms of how long an estimate is valid for. Again, we believe that it's probably a good idea to protect yourself by putting in subjects. Prices might be subject to change without notice in case a customer takes a very long time to come back with a positive response to your estimate. And then the terms and conditions, right? So the terms and conditions for an estimate tend to be things along the lines of any estimate over $2,000, for example, requires a 50% parts deposit. All right. So if the customer is informed of that and they can see that at the bottom of the estimate, then it's very, very clear to them that if they do accept the estimate, they will be expected to come up with a deposit of some type, as opposed to issuing the estimate to the customer and then having to ask for an estimate at a later point in time after they've accepted it. All right, so those are your footers, right? Very, very simple. It should only take you about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to fill those out. All right, and you'll notice that in here, what you're doing is you're typing everything into the boxes, okay? When we come further down the page, we go to the email messages. Now, in the email messages, right, there is a statement in each of the boxes, and it says, please go to Settings, Company Lists, and choose or create the appropriate template. And you'll see down in the bottom right-hand corner, there is an Add Template box. So if you toggle on that, you will have a list of all of the templates which you've prepared, and I'm about to show you where those all reside. All right, so you pick the template that you want, You select it, and it becomes the default template for that particular task. So I'm going to close that at the moment. As we come down the page, you'll see that all of these, right, give you the option of adding a template, so they become the defaults. Right. One of the purposes of this is to actually streamline the activities within the workshop and stop the necessity of doing repetitive work, such as writing out emails for your customers and writing out emails for your suppliers. If you create a standard template, which you're happy with, then that can be used as a default template, and you'll find that it generally will save you probably anywhere upwards of 20 minutes to half an hour per day. All right, this is the booking message, which would go out to a customer on a gold subscription who was confirming, you were confirming the booking for them. All right. And down here in the bottom section, we have loan car terms and conditions. Again, this is for gold customers who are actually using the loan car and the loan car diary. And this is the format for, this is a sample format for a loan car agreement that can be used when you're using the loan car diary. All right. Down at the bottom, we have an option for a bulk SMS message. And again, this is for gold customers, right, who are wanting to send an email or an SMS message to their whole customer base. That's possibly informing them of a new product line, informing the customer base of a new service that's being offered by the workshop, various different methodologies that can be used for improving customer retention and getting new business. All right, so this again was the messages page under the company settings. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this, and we're going to go over to the settings again. Under the settings, we're going to go into the company lists. The company lists are basically the page where all of your templates reside. So this is where you come in and you create all the templates that you're going to work with, all right, and that you want to set up as standards for your workshop. I'll come to the invoice note and the job card note templates, which are the mechanic and customer templates, in a moment. What I'd like to concentrate on, first of all, is the email templates. So if we were going to send an email to our customers when we were issuing an invoice and issuing them a copy of their invoice via email, we would simply come into this template here, all right? And what we would do is put in the company name. So in here, I'll put in Smarts Garage. And down here, what I'll do is I'll also copy that because I'm going to use it again. I come down to the bottom and I come in here, paste that in there. And then I would put in my preferred telephone number. Now this can be a landline, or it can be a mobile number as well. And there you have it. All right. This becomes a default email, which will go out to your customers every time you wanted to send them a copy of their email or their invoice. All you would need to do is to come in here and replace the X's with that person's first name, which provides them with a very nice, polite, positive, customer retaining email, which shows engagement and also shows respect for the customer and thanks them very much for using your services. Now, once you've created a template for that, right, what you do is you remove the word sample, and that becomes your default template for sending out an email invoice. Right, so there we have it. If we come down and look at the email templates, we've taken out the sample. That has now become the default statement for the default email template. I'm going to go into the statement as well. Statements are issued to your clients generally on an end-of-month basis, and they're all generally issued within the same time period. So you don't have time to actually customize them for each person who's actually receiving a statement. So what we do is we say, great, create a generic email, which is going to be, again, polite, customer engaging, and so on. We come in here, we put in the business name. I'll paste that in there, highlight that, and copy it, put it in here again. And then put in my telephone number. So if I go in there, And if requested, or if I think it's a good idea, I'll also put in a mobile number as well. Right. Now, once again, right, you take out the word sample because it is no longer a sample. You've customized it as per requirement, and we save that. So in order to put these templates into play, what we do is we come in here to the company list page, we set up the templates the way that we would like them, and then we actually put them into play. So what I'm going to do for the invoice and the statement templates is I'm going to go back to the messages page. I'm going to come down the page a little bit, and here I have the email messages. So here's my invoice email text. What I do is, first of all, remove the message in there. I come in, I choose the template that I'd like to use. That's my invoice, and I put that in there. And now I have a default template, which is ready to go, right? Next thing I do is I come down to the statement, same thing. I come in here, I remove the pre-formatted text. I choose the template that I would like. There we have it, right? There's the statement. That's all ready to go, so I'm happy with that. I come to the bottom of the page and I save this. And now those templates are ready to use. So that is how you work with your standard email templates for invoices and statements. The next thing I would like to do is go into the reminder system. So the reminder system is fully automated within Workshop software. All that you need to do is to set up the templates that you would like to use for those particular purposes. This is the email template for the customers who prefer contact via email. You'll notice there's a percentage sign, and wherever there's a percentage sign, the documentation in between is a placeholder from within Workshop software. So this will take a customer's full name, this will take the registration number of their vehicle, and this will take the next service date, which is scheduled for their vehicle, and we'll put this into the email automatically. All that we need to do is to come in here and put in a preferred telephone number. Set that up like that. There we have it. Okay. And come down here. And what I'm going to do is hopefully I can paste that in. The team at Smarts Garage. And again, you have a message which is going to be fully automatic. So take a little bit of time, work out exactly the content of what you would like to say to your customers when you're inviting them to contact you for a service reminder. All right. Once you've got that all sorted, you take out the word sample again, and we save that. Now, this was for customers who were preferring that you contact them via email for a service reminder, for example. At the bottom, under this section, under the SMS templates, we also have a service reminder. And this service reminder follows the rules of the SMS messaging, which is that you have 160 characters in which to get your message across to your customer. Right. So again, we use the placeholder, so it's the registration number, and we have the next service date. You'll note that we don't put in the customer's full name in here from the system. And the reason for that is largely because you may have customers with very, very long names. And if you have customers with very long names and it exceeds the 160 character limit that you have on an SMS message, it will use 2 SMS messages, right? Which is not necessarily the most economically efficient way to proceed. So we say if you put in basically a nice polite message for the customer, you can just go, hello, your vehicle with the registration number is due for a service on this date. Please call us. And in here, of course, you come in and put in your telephone number. And you put in your business name. Now, with this, I have Smarts Garage. And I still have 10 characters left over, which is quite good, right? If you're putting together an SMS message and you're finding that you're very limited in terms of characters, just look at the syntax of your message and possibly change it around and take out anything that is not absolutely necessary in order to get the message to your customers. All right. So in New South Wales, for example, or in Australia, you could take out the area code, which is 02. For some American customers, if they're working in one state, they may just take out the area code for that state or that area, and that therefore gives them a couple of extra characters to work with. All right, now I misspelled that by accident. There we go, Smarts Garage. Now, once again, if I've finished my message and it's no longer a sample, I go, great, my service reminder is now done. Okay. Another very, very popular SMS message for workshops to use in terms of creating a tighter bond and a more familiar bond with your customers is the vehicle collection SMS. This is a very, very short SMS, right? What it does is it just notifies the customer that their repairs or the service work has been completed. The vehicle is ready for collection. All you do is you come in, you put in your telephone number, go there, and whatever, do that, and Smart's Garage again. And there we have our vehicle collection message. Now, I always leave 1x there as a prompt for the user to be able to type in the person's first name when they're using this template. As you can see, there's a surfeit of characters left over, 27. So that ensures for us that we will be able to actually send out that text message without too many problems with using the person's full name, or their first name, I should say. Once again, we remove the sample because we now customize that vehicle collection message, and that is now ready to use at any point in time when you want to get in touch with the customer. All right, we're going to save that. Now, that brings us to the end of the SMS templates and the reminder system and the emails. The last thing I would like to do is to touch on the invoice note templates and the job card note templates. Now, this documentation is something which you have the ability to create as many of these templates as you would like. And they are both for the customer to read, which explain to the customer what you've done on their car that particular day. And this is also an instruction set, which is an absolute mirror of what you're telling the customer for your mechanic to read and to sit there and tell him what he needs to actually do in order to make what you've told the customer true. So if I open this minor service template, for example, this is just an example, a sample, as I keep saying, right? And what it is says that, yes, we drain and replace the engine oil and filter. We checked and adjusted the tire pressure. Here is where you can actually come in and put your tire conditions. Down here is where you can come in and put in the brake conditions for the vehicle. And then any other messaging that you want the customer to be aware of, which is going to appear on their invoice. All right. We believe that best practice is also to put down this on every one of those customer invoice templates, right? Which is additional works and observations. If you put this into your template, when this template is deployed on an invoice for a customer, then this gives you another whole section where you can actually add in any additional information which you want the customer to be aware of, which is not covered by the job that you've actually been contracted for. So for example, if you're doing a minor service and then you notice that the brakes need changing, then you can put that onto the invoice underneath this section. All right. So it's additional works and observations. All right. We believe that that's a very, very good way of notifying your customers of things that they need to be aware of. That shows due diligence on the part of the workshop. And it also creates another selling opportunity for the workshop to the customer. So once again, once you've created a template for any particular job, it could be a minor service, could be an A service, a B service, could be a lube job, it could be a brake job, et cetera, et cetera. Then what you do is you take out the sample, for example, and go, great, this is our description for a minor service. We save that. All right. This template is now ready to deploy on any customer invoice. Right. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in the piece, right, the job card note template for a minor service, for example, is exactly the same as what the customer reads, except that it has a checklist. Okay, so here, this is telling the mechanic this is what he needs to do. He needs to take down the tire conditions, the brake conditions. He needs to check, clean, and adjust the brakes, check and top up all the fluids. And he can return these back to the admin person in the office, right, and say, okay, all of these things have been done. All right. And that way the workshop can say hand on heart to the customer, yes, during your minor service, all of these things were actually completed. All right. Once again, when you've created the template and it's customized to your satisfaction, you remove the word sample in this particular instance, and you save that. Okay. Once again, ready to deploy on any customer invoice when you're ready to do it. The way that we suggest that you actually do this is create the template for what you want to tell the customer. Once you've created that, then what you can do is come in here, for example, okay, and you copy what you've created for the customer to read, copy that, Okay, and then you create another template for the mechanic. All right, and this is slightly different because this is an instruction set for the mechanic. So you go, this service requires. All right, you can even bold that if you'd like. It'll look very nice and neat. And then what you do is you put in a checkbox. So the checkbox looks like that. Once you have a checkbox there, with one extra character to create some spacing, we just simply copy that, paste it in here, and so on and so forth until we actually completed that. All right, everything is done and dusted. We're happy with that. Okay, and there we have the mechanics template. So creating the template for the customer should take maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and creating the corresponding template for the mechanic to read, all right, will take probably another maybe 5 minutes or whatever. And if you do this, right, then all of a sudden the production of invoices for your customers based on regularly occurring jobs will actually become much, much quicker and create a lot more efficiency within the workshop itself. All right, so you'll name that. And I'm just going to call that test job. Okay. And that is a template for the mechanics to read now. And there we have it. All right. That brings us to the end of the third video, which is all about templates for customers and mechanics, email templates for customers and, invoices and statements and service reminders, and the service reminder formatting for both SMS and email. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please stay tuned for the next video. Once again, always remember that anything that you're looking for in workshop software relative to this video, for example, is easily found in the help guides and resources. So if I came in here and I went service reminders, for example, I should find articles relative to how to set up service reminders, how to set up automated ones, how to update the next service date for a vehicle. And these points I will actually cover in another ongoing video. But if we come in here and have a look at these, right, this gives you a very, very good insight into the type of information which you can find in workshop software's help guides and resources. All right, so that takes care of that. And thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for the next video.